I got into education because primarily I had amazing teachers at school, and I was the first person in my family to ever consider going to university, and I wanted to do a visual arts degree. But along with that, the inspiration from the teachers was getting a sense of their process and the way they work together, and because the teachers were very inclusive of us, we got insights into their work life, and that actually really made me interested in teaching, I think, because I could see that there was a really human process behind the teaching. And then I started on this journey of pretty much dual careers between education and the arts over time. And that's been an incredibly rewarding career to follow. When I was a young teacher, I clearly had a capacity for teaching, and I was good at it, I think, and students really enjoyed my classes. But then as you get older and you think about your career, I think you have to make a decision at some point where your career is going to go. And you look at others who are older than you and you can see what they might be doing that's really interesting. So there were a few mentors for me who I looked at, and they were 10 or 20 years older than me, and I could get a sense that once they were like me and that one day I could be like that. And then I started to think, well, if you can just change one part of a school with your ideas and your efforts, what if you had a whole school? And that was really the first time I began to think about what it might be like to be a leader of a school rather than just a participant in the school that you're working in. What attracted me to the Richmond High School project was several things. Building on my own confidence as a school principal, being experienced. So the fact that I'm a 12-year principal already means that I bring certain qualities to this role that I wouldn't if it was my first principalship. So I think that's the main driving force behind my interest in doing this position. But it's very interesting to me what a contemporary school building can mean not only to the area in terms of value adding to the area, but also as an education provider and what we might be able to do in it. So many schools are restricted by their buildings to old forms of learning, old forms of teaching, but this school has an opportunity of being a clean palette for the opportunities and the things that we can create, and I think that's the second part that I find really fascinating. And for the school is actually beyond the school, but very much about the school. I'm really interested in equity in education. The way of dealing with equity in our situation, I believe, is to have what I call local high esteem schools. We can deal with equity really easily if we've got a whole series of schools that are local, that children can just easily get to them, but in each of those schools is a really high quality education with amazing staff delivering great outcomes for those children. But at the same time, I'd like our colleagues in education to come to us and say, well, what are you doing that is so interesting that makes you successful? My goal, of course, as the principal of the school, is that we are the first school anybody in Richmond looks at, and that we very, very quickly become school of choice for them. I'm founding a school for the next 100 years, and I'm simply the steward of the school for the time being, along with the rest of the community. But what can we create that in 20 and 30 and 40 years is providing really great educational opportunities for that suburb going forward?